WHHI-TV, where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
WHHI-TV,
where communities come to speak. I'm now joined by Joe DeVito, who's the Director of Field Operations for the Beaufort-Jasper Water and Sewer Authority. Joe, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So we just had a pretty big storm come through.
Yes, biggest storm in my career.
That's right. And so obviously there's a lot of work to be done in our community, and y'all are doing a fantastic job. One of the things that your organization is asking residents to is avoid covering their meter boxes and fire hydrants now when they place the hurricane debris. Why is that?
Well, everybody's moving their debris right to the edge of the right-of-way, which is where we have really three assets. There also is the sewer cleanout if you have a part of our sewer system. Accessing those for normal stuff that happens at your home is important. If something was to break inside your house and you wanted us to come and turn your water off, we can't get to the meter box, and it can extend how long that water is going to leak in your home.
Gotcha.
The other side of that is now when the debris haulers are coming to pick everything up, if you haven't seen them, they use a big claw. And they can easily grab our asset, yank it out of the ground, and now create another leak and another response that we're going to have to deal with. If they break the sewer clean out, it may not be weeks later before we find out when the sewer stops working in your home, because you can't flush the toilets because some debris got down there.
Gotcha.
Obviously, the fire hydrants, when they grab one of those, everybody knows what happens. It's going to flood the whole street,
Right.
and we're going to have to turn off the water to somebody's neighborhood to make that repair.
Right, and these meters are pretty well labeled, right? You can pretty much tell where they are.
Yeah, it's a box that's buried level with the ground. It's about 15 inches long, 12 inches wide. Most people kind of, at some point, have seen their meter box in the front yard, and the clean out's a round item. Obviously, the fire hydrants are sticking out of the ground.
Gotcha, okay. And then, so BJWSA shut off some water in some places in advance of the hurricane. Why is that?
Yeah, that was a decision as the storm started getting closer and we were seeing what the tidal surges could be, the storm surges. They were really starting to increase how high those surges were going to go. So we started evaluating the system where we have barrier islands or smaller islands where there was a long causeway or there was a dirt causeway with storm drain pipes. And the fear is that one of those would wash out, and then we would lose the line, and then we would lose the entire system. Because in the middle of the storm, we're not going to be able to go out and isolate it.
Right.
So the water tanks would drop, and pressure to everybody would start disappearing. So we had to make the decision to protect the whole and reduce some of the smaller areas. So we chose some of the barrier islands, and it ended up being the right decision because there was a problem on the causeway going to Hunting Island and Fripp Island, as we all know.
Okay, smart move then. And you also asked residents to limit their water and sewer usage just after the hurricane. Why is that?
Well, right after the hurricane, we had a number of leaks. We had an enormous amount of power outages. We have about 550 items remote throughout the system that require power. So when you're hearing Palmetto Electric and SC&G saying 90+% of customers don't have power, we're one of those customers. Okay?
Yeah.
So we had over 90% of our 500+ items, which is water and wastewater lift stations, without power.
Gotcha.
We were prepared. We had backup generators, backup pumps, but to get them to where they needed to be, and roaming was difficult. So we wanted to maintain a high level of water pressure in case of an emergency. So we asked people to cut down. Also, we wanted less people flushing as much down the toilets because we had to deal with the wastewater side of the system as well. And our plan was to roam generators around the system and pump them down and then keep this circuit going. As everybody knows, the amount of debris, we couldn't get everywhere.
Sure.
So we needed people to reduce it while we got it under control. And basically by Tuesday night, we had the system under control, both water and wastewater. But we didn't get all our power restored until that following Sunday.
Right.
We were remote generators, remote pumps, and moving around the system throughout that entire time.
Well,
and that was the reason for it. It's just, it's a chance to bring the system back up to normal as close as possible. And the big thing is fire protection. We need that pressure for fire protection. First day we had over 50 meter leaks, just little leaks, trees falling down, knocking service lines to people's homes. Each one is 50 gallons a minute. That's a lot of water.
Yeah.
And you had to get to each one to make those repairs.
Wow, a lot of moving parts.
Yes, a lot of moving parts. There's over 3,000 miles of pipe out there we maintain.
3,000 miles.
Yes, and it's in the grounds in Beaufort and Jasper County. So
Really?
every tree that falls over has the potential to lift one of those pipes out of the ground.
Wow. Okay, so now we're a couple of weeks removed. Do you feel like you're fully recovered?
The system itself, the system is recovered. We lost 2 major facilities that are going to take a little longer. One is operational but damaged. The other one is on bypass pumps. It's over in the New Riverside neighborhood. Those are going to have to be completely rebuilt. They're just unfortunate situations. We lost them, and we're okay. There's no issues. There's no restrictions because of this. It's just something we've got to deal with. So the system is fine, and now it's like everybody else. It's all the paperwork and everything that goes along, and quantifying exactly what was storm related and what wasn't, so we can move forward.
Awesome stuff, Joe. Thank you very much for joining us
Well,
today.
appreciate you having us here. It's important that everybody understands what it takes to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you back anytime.
Anytime, just give us a call.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Back to you.